It's not a party with fireworks. Turning on your solar is as boring as turning on the bathroom light when you have to go potty at night, okay? It's just power. It's not a jet ski. It's not a, antique sewing machine. It's not your hobby. It's just a commodity. And I am trying to save people tens of thousands of dollars, and they start ghosting me because they don't want to see it. They don't want to think about it. People are so entrenched in the habit of paying their utility bills because their parents did it. It's as if it's almost like some kind of tax. And I'll say, well, now look, I help people get out of debt with the utility company. And many people will think, well, I'm not in debt to the utility company. Well, when are you going to stop your contract with them? Next month? What kind of choice do you have? Did you have a choice to sign up with the name of your utility company? You have a chance to do something that is so special in the history of time, of civilization. You have a chance to own your own power company. 1920, half of America still was using gas lamps. 1960, finally, 99% of the population had electricity. The rural areas of America caught up. Okay? That was 1960. So since the Beatles, we've had power. Now we can own our own power. And what do we have to do for said power? Let me tell you, what's behind the curtain, Jane? We have to fill out some documents and see if our credit score is good enough. Oh my gosh, but I was gonna die with that credit score. And I talk to older people in their 60s and 70s, and it's like they're hanging on to their credit score, which will improve with solar, by the way. They're hanging on to it like, this is what I've been taught. I cannot challenge. I'm never gonna have another loan, but I really want a good credit score. When I die, hello, McFly. What do you do with a drunken sailor? You make him walk the plank. Sorry, kid show. What do you do with a credit score? You use it for your advantage. You leverage it. You tell money what to do. So really, there's a bigger realm here. The $10,000 that this one gentleman is trying to save, he would already spend. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. He just spends it over time. Now, if he saves it, he puts it, he doesn't pay the utility company. He puts it in his own power. Now he owns the equipment, owns the power, production. Now, when he goes to sell in 7 years, because this was his case, he now is getting that equity and that value back. So it's like his money is working twice. He's either losing it on one hand, right? Then the second part is he's paying for something that he used, the same power. He used it, he consumed it. But now, when he goes to sell, he's getting that chunk of money with the equity of his payments back because he already used it, okay? It's really double money. Are you seeing what I'm seeing here? Losing $10,000 paying the utility company, it's gone. You pay it for something that goes into your ownership. Great, but you also use that power. You get an extra $10,000. Actually, in most cases more, because house values have risen. You can play the inflation game and you can leverage your house. Meanwhile, while you're saving each month, he was going to pay like $42 instead of $58. So in the next few years, it's going to be $60, $70. It's even just, not that he would, but if you took that $30 and just put it in stocks every month, obviously most people don't save the difference of what they do save with solar. But if they did, it would be an amazing statistic. So what have we learned here today? People are afraid of loans because their name goes on it, because it's a longer term benefit. Oh, did I mention the fact that many of these people are also turning down money from the government that they've already paid in taxes with a tax incentive of 26%? No, I didn't mention that part. So while they're all hungry to grab their stimulus check, I've got sometimes $17,000 on the table from the government in tax incentives. They're like, do I have to sign something? Yeah, well, one, you got to sign the check when it comes back. Number two, We have to see if your roof qualifies the last stages with a site survey. I mean, just whatever it's going to take. What does it take for you to think, well, oh, I got so many projects. I'm talking to this lady through her screen door, older woman, and she actually had attempted to cancel the first appointment, which I wasn't aware of. So I was just talking to her. I got there and she was like, I canceled this. I'm like, all right. She said she was too busy. Now, that's a bologna sandwich. That's the initials of a bologna sandwich because she's retired. Okay, so maybe she's doing some gardening. All she has to do, in essence, is listen to me and how I can save her probably $25K. Now, maybe she won't see it all, but her grandkids and her kids would, okay? Meanwhile, she's doing a gardening project, which is great. That's her hobby. But she doesn't see the end of the tunnel. She just thinks she's too busy. We're going to come in and install it in one day. She's got to do a little bit of paperwork and a little bit of correspondence, maybe answer the phone, maybe check a mark off. It's ridiculous. I don't know what pipes through the pipeline of electricity when these companies give us power, which I'm thankful for the last several decades. Thankful for the power companies for running these lines. But not everybody, especially my customers, need to have that type of power anymore. They can have solar. And they will work with you, especially here in Iowa, by law, net metering instead of debt metering. I don't know what kind of trance people are on or what kind of clause of debt-riddled bondage they are. But this is what I'm really thinking when people say, I've got enough, I got a project. I talked to someone last night, following up from like a month and a half ago. Well, this is their reason. Well, our son's buying a tractor and we're going to help him. Okay, great. I'm glad you're helping your son with his agricultural dreams. What in the world does that have to do with you switching out your solar on a loan that would bring your costs down? And I even asked, they're just going to help him. They're not getting a loan for him, so it had nothing to do with their credit. But they're like, well, here's an excuse. People don't want to be confronted. They're so comfortable with the way they're doing things. They're just like, well, it's just easier to pay more the utility bill, not to put something on my roof, not to do a project. Meanwhile, I'm gardening. Meanwhile, I'm doing this for my wife and everything else. But it's just easier. It's more comfortable. Well, that's probably why you don't manage money as good as you can if you just go for comfort, because it is comfortable to work 9 to 5 and not be an entrepreneur and all that. There's nothing wrong with working 9 to 5. We need 9 to 5ers. I'm just saying that you can't be comfortable with money all the time. If a loan is uncomfortable for you, why isn't overpaying your utility bill by tens of thousands of dollars over a couple decades uncomfortable? Why isn't that uncomfortable? So here's the thing, guys. There's obstacles in our life that are real. There's a bridge in front of me right now, and there's a post. I could try to run into it. That's a real obstacle. I need to go over. I'm just literally going under a bridge. I need to go under it, over it, around it. It's a real obstacle. A real obstacle. So if you have a farm equipment or you can't qualify, like the gentleman who didn't qualify, that's a real obstacle. We need to help him with his credit. He's very close to qualifying. Then there's excuses that become like obstacles in our head, but they're not real obstacles. We need to overcome obstacles and eliminate excuses. Some of our excuses get so big in our head, like, well, I gotta help my son with a tractor. Well, I have to do some gardening. Well, I don't want to sign anything. One guy goes, hey, well, I'm doing this other entrepreneurial project with real estate. I'm like, awesome. And I can't chance my credit score going down even 3 points. I'm like, the government's trying to give you $8,000 to go solar and leverage it, and even if you move in 2 years, blah, 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 blah. The numbers didn't make sense. He didn't feel good about doing another loan. I don't know what voodoo these credit scores have given us. That's an excuse, but it can be eliminated. It doesn't have to be an actual real obstacle, okay? Meanwhile, obstacles can become excusicles, I call them. They can, like, yes, I have to go around the pole. or over the bridge or under the tunnel. But it doesn't have to be an excuse. You can solve obstacles by overcoming them, and you can eliminate excuses that become obstacles in your head by simply just going another alternate route, removing them, and doing math. Does math motivate people? I mean, I don't see it. I don't see how people can leave $17,000, $7,000 of money to go solar. And they're like, well, I didn't know I was going to have to sign something. I mean, that's really what they're telling me. Get over it. Get over it. Get over it. I mean, seriously. And if you don't, here's the cost. Here's the penalty. Okay? You will pay more for a few decades and you won't even notice because you're not wise enough to see it, brave enough to overcome it, or whatever. Just call it what you want. I don't want to insult you, but that's what your situation is. If you're not willing to get through that, then you'll be faced with the consequences of wasting money and not being able to leverage that other money for better purposes to bless you and your family. Rant over. Thanks for listening.